Hi, today I want to talk about building strength using supplements, both over the counter, OTC, and natural supplements. I'm not going to talk about that'll be in the next part where I talk about SARMs and testosterone, HGH, and the like. But right now, this is just focused on natural or OTC supplements. Now, for over 50, and I have many years training. I'm 63 years old, and I've trained for over 40 years, and so almost 15 years it's been over 50. So I've tried and experiment with many things. I sort of see what works, what doesn't work, and what sort of hurts you. So I want to start with talking about a philosophy, and the philosophy is try to only take as much as you really need. Especially when you get over 50, some of this stuff actually starts becoming toxic, and you start junking up your liver. Your body has sometimes a negative reaction to some of these chemicals. I know I've had some bad reaction to some of the what they call safe OTC products. Yohimbe bark in the pharmaceutical grade. Oh my God! I almost went to the hospital because my heart would not slow down to less than 150 beats a minute. So I would definitely try to take the minimum that you need and be very careful. And I have a problem with all those what they say liver, things that enhance the liver, and OTC and supplements for the liver. The reality is there's not medical science to prove that. And second of all, just from a common sense point of view, are you going to stress your liver by having it do more work just to try to see if it helps the liver in some bizarre way? To me, the only thing to clean the liver is water. So if you want to help your liver, just drink more water, take a break from what it is that's causing a problem, but do drink a lot of water. That is imperative in order to help with your liver. So that's sort of my philosophy in the supplementation. So take what you need and don't do any more because it can be dangerous. I'll talk a little about an example I have. So I want to take it through tendons, nervous system, and muscles, which are the three things that contribute to strength. So first, for tendons, that is based of fibrous collagen. That's sort of how it's built up in your system, and those tendons, it's difficult for the blood to reach. So one of the treatments today is platelet-rich blood, and that's they inject that in, and sort of more platelets get to your tendon, and it seems to cure it faster based on some medical evidence. But the point is the tendons are built from fibrous cartilage and based on collagen, and that collagen is built up through basically calcium. So now there have been supplements that directly powdered collagen or bone collagen or things like that. It's not really been proven that those things really help, and in fact, the more calcium you take in the right manner will actually have a better impact on your tendons and your cartilages. So I would definitely figure out or get more calcium through a diet. One of the problems with calcium is that certain things prevent its absorption, certain things help its absorption. So if you get it naturally, you're going to get the sort of the chemical composition, the vitamin composition that sort of maximizes the absorption. And so absorption of calcium is sort of key. So that's why I sort of would recommend just taking naturally. And what I do is I drink 32 ounces of milk a day. And by the way, chocolate milk has been proven as one of the best drinks you can have post-workout to help with recovery. So milk actually is an important factor. Now, some people don't like milk and they're tolerant, but it's really not just for kids. It really is a bone and muscle building type drink. So I drink milk for its protein and its calcium. I definitely recommend at least one or two servings of chocolate milk after you work out, after an intense workout, let's say. The way to build more tendon strength is really drinking or taking calcium in its natural form and getting quite a bit of it. So I would, again, I drink milk. You could do any other way you want. Whatever makes you happy, but just do it from a natural source. That would be my recommendation. In terms of nervous system, the nervous system, apparently B6 and B12 are important for the functioning of the nervous system. Now, usually in training and strength training, you usually don't have a problem with the nervous system, but over 50, it's possible. And if you do, you feel like you're having a little problem with neurons firing off, or muscles not reacting as quick as possible, then I would recommend taking B6 and B12, which have been shown to improve the neuron activity and help healthy nervous system. And B6 and B12 have been shown on its own to be pretty useful. I'd recommend sublingual, which is underneath your tongue, so that your body doesn't have to metabolize it and doesn't have to go through the liver. Anytime you can minimize things going through the liver, you're probably better off over 50. So you can take B6 or B12, and in fact, if you take niacin, a high dose of niacin, that's been shown to increase HDL, which is a good thing. As a side note, I don't necessarily recommend that it has anything to do with lifting, but one of the things you find is that when you lift heavy weights, your HDL goes down and your LDL goes up. So you want to try to balance that out a little bit. So that's with the nervous system. Now I'm going to talk about muscles, and that's sort of the big part of strength building, right? And thing that you'd want to look better at, right? I mean, right? So you go around and, I don't know, girls hit on you even when you're 60, and when they're in their 20s. So it's a little strange, but it happens. The first thing is protein. You got to get enough protein, but you can't get too much because you can get sick. So how much is too much? Well, if you start peeing and it's foamy, very foamy, that means you've had too much protein. The rule of thumb that I sort of follow, and I think it's pretty accurate, is the most you ever want to do is 3/4 of a gram per pound of body weight. However, for over 50, I recommend probably keeping it at 1/2 gram at the upper end. Probably more than 0.3 grams. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you'd have to have at least 60 grams. But you could have up to 100 grams. It's probably more optimal when you're training. If you're not training, strength training, then you can keep it to around 60 grams for a 200 pound body weight, which would be about a third of a gram per pound of body weight. So if you have too much protein, that's going to cause a problem, put stress on your liver. It's going to increase your liver enzymes, and that's happened to me. And I wound up in too much protein. I wound up in an emergency ward because I didn't know what was wrong, and they found my very high liver enzymes, and it was from too much protein. So I cut back my protein. At that time, I was taking almost a little more than a full gram per pound, so it was just too much. And my pee was incredibly foamy, so I would not recommend you ever go over 3/4 of a gram of protein per pound, no matter how hard you're working out. But if you are working out hard, at least 1/2 gram per pound. And I'm talking in terms of strength training, because that's what protein's for. Now, protein getting at least 0.3 grams per pound is important because muscle can waste away as you're older. And it wastes away faster as you get older, and having more protein sort of slows that down, and that has been shown in some scientific journals. So having more protein will slow down that muscle loss and the atrophying. So I definitely recommend make sure you have at least 1/3 of a gram per pound. The issue is what type of protein. Well, as long as it's a full protein, it really doesn't matter what's a BCAA or some other type of protein, that some designer protein. The only thing I will say, right after a workout, I do recommend having whey protein, so you can mix that up in water or have a drink such as Isopure. And the reason is whey is a fast-acting protein that gets immediately absorbed. So right after you work out is where your muscles are most broken down, and so you want them to start rebuilding right away. So if you infuse your body with whey protein, it's going to build a little faster. Now, you don't have to. It's just if you want to optimize your gains, your muscle gains, that's what you would do. But only again if you had you did strength training that day and you worked up a sweat at a minimum. So that's with protein. And again, I drink milk to get my protein, as well as I do eat beef and chicken, but I eat lean beef, chicken, fish, salmon. Salmon is very healthy according to most sources. So I would definitely stay with salmon and chicken, lean beef, dairy. Those are the things I get. Now, I'm not too big on eggs. I used to drink eggs when I was in my 20s because Arnold did it. And I don't know. So that's really up to you how you want to get your protein. So the other OTC supplement, so protein 1, the other one would be creatine. Creatine, what it does is it doesn't actually build muscle, but what it does is it puts water in your muscle and it makes the muscle stronger and look bigger. Now that effect will go away once you stop taking the creatine, but because it is stronger, you'll be able to put on more muscle if you work out. So when you take creatine, I'm hoping you actually work out and do strength training and try to push yourself. At least a little, or based on what your doctor says. So I would definitely recommend, but I'd stick with the monohydrate version of creatine, because that's where all the research has been done. I know they talk about front loading and this and that. Don't worry about it. 5 grams of creatine a day. You'll eventually, in a couple weeks, your system will have enough to. It will have the front-loaded proper amount, and you'll just stabilize. So 5 grams a day. And by the way, creatine, the studies have shown there is no overdose amount. It's been very helpful, especially for seniors. It actually has impact on cognitive ability. It will help, again, improve your strength, and a lot of doctors recommend it. Whether you're a doctor or not, I don't know. But a lot of doctors recommend creatine. So I recommend it. It does help. It's actually you'll feel if you've never taken creatine, you haven't really done much in terms of supplementation for strength, you actually will notice a difference. I know the first time I took creatine a long time ago, I did. So that's one. So we talked about protein, we talked about creatine. We also talked, even though technically water is not a supplement per se, it's very useful, again, for your system, especially to help your liver process. You need it because when you sweat, you do lose a lot of water. And when you get older, you get dehydrated faster, and sometimes you don't even realize it. I have been very dehydrated, and I didn't even know it. And then all of a sudden, I have to go get what they call a drip, an intravenous drip of saline. To saline solution, 2 or 3 bags before I'm back stabilized, because you can lose a lot of water in just a matter of a few days through an intense workout. So I again, be careful when you get older, over 50. You're going to be subject to more dehydration. You need more water. You need more. You just need to drink more water, and be conscious of, you got to force yourself to drink water or water-based liquids that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be purely water, but the problem is you want to minimize the impact on the liver, so it has to process anything. Sugar is not good for you, so try to stay away from sugary water items. So you want to stay away from dense carbohydrates, complex carbohydrate type drinks, or just water. I drink a lot of the G2 Gatorade. That's not diet, the 50% sugar removed. So there's some sugar in there because I just don't like plain water, but I do drink plain water. But I do like Gatorade with low sugar. So that's sort of something I drink quite a bit of. In terms of so we talked about creatine. Then the other sort of important minerals and vitamins are zinc and magnesium. As you get older, you tend to lose those, and especially when you work out. So supplementation with zinc and magnesium, because they're sort of hard to get from natural sources. So